where are we coming from?
We're off center.
Here under the tree. What's up everyone? Welcome back to EUCO. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Connor. We're here in Central Park, New York, and we're here to answer one little question.
Is the INMOTION V12 the best bang for your buck in electric unicycles in 2024?
Stick around and find out. Roll the clip.
So the wheel we're testing out is the V12 high speed. There is also the V12 high torque model as well.
The high torque will take you 37 miles an hour. The high speed that we're testing here takes you to about 42 miles an hour. In our testing, we never really went over 30 miles an hour. That's a speed that we're both comfortable with and felt more than adequate keeping up with traffic here in New York City without getting yourself into serious trouble in case you need to brake or maneuver around the various things that happen around this city.
I think generally speaking, the high speed is going to give you plenty of speed and torque, and the high torque is going to give you plenty of torque and speed. You could probably just lean towards either wheel depending on your own personal circumstances, whether you're riding on mostly flat roads or whether you're riding on hills. If I was in New York, I'd probably buy the high speed, or if I was in LA, I'd probably buy the high speed. If I was in San Francisco, I'd buy the high torque.
Sure.
I mean, INMOTION is not reinventing the wheel here, no pun intended. Let's talk about some of the little things with this wheel. Trolley handle, pretty simple design, pretty easy to use. It's got a kickstand in the back that we're using to stand the wheel up now. I think the speakers are surprisingly good in this.
Other pluses out of the box, you got USB-A and USB-C fast charging out the back. You have high beam and low beam headlights. They're very powerful. You have a touchscreen on top that lets you control all of the settings. You don't need the app except for software updates.
I think the biggest thing that I had said to you is it feels like the standard of what a basic wheel has landed at today is so much further than when I started riding wheels. You know, a basic wheel was getting you around the 20 mile per hour, 25 mile per hour range. And now from something that, you know, we could consider as more along the budget class of EUCs, you're getting, you know, 42 miles per hour. You're getting a solid battery life with, you know, in our testing, somewhere around 50 miles. It's a standard wheel with all the standard features you'd come to expect, and, you know, perhaps souping that up with a little bit more power from previous offerings.
During the course of filming, we learned about the new V12 Pro. The biggest changes are under the hood, with the new Raptor controller, which is good for better power delivery and more torque. The wheel also includes new orange accents that match the rest of INMOTION's lineup. Don't feel like you're missing out too much. Here's a spec sheet for you to check out. Really, this makes the V12 high speed and high torque an even better deal in 2024 with the new pricing available.
Riding it reminds me a lot of one of my first wheels, the Gotway ACM back in the day. The ACM is very low, is very planted. This has a lot of those same maneuvering characteristics. You go over potholes, you go over bumps, the whole thing feels planted. It's very well balanced. It's very fun to carve on. This is a surprisingly narrow wheel. A lot of the wheels these days are coming in at, you know, over 8 inches wide, and that means that you're very planted with your feet. With this wheel, you can kind of lock in a little bit. You can have your legs a little closer together. That might be more comfortable for some people. Certainly might make it a little more maneuverable as well.
I think the narrow design of this wheel has been pretty helpful actually in the New York streets. Weaving in and out of traffic and, you know, sliding between different slots between cars. I feel that riding on this wheel versus the other wheel that we're testing, which is a little wider, this is a lot easier to be nimble and maneuver through obstacles. Definitely something that's a plus for this wheel if that's something that benefits your ride style. The first thing I'm going to notice jumping onto a wheel like this is no suspension, right?
Sure.
First wheel I rode on, of course, didn't have suspension. Now suspension's become a lot more popular, a lot more common.
A couple things to say, you know, my riding style, I like to ride off-road a lot. You're not getting the suspension of a lot of current offerings, but do you really need that? You know, what does your commute look like? You got to be asking yourself some of these questions, and if you're coming in to the EUC scene and you have less than $2,000, you know, this is a very, very tempting option.
If you're paying close attention, you're staying aware, I think a wheel like this is no problem for riding in a city environment.
There's something to be said about the simplicity of a non-suspension wheel as well. It's going to be a little bit easier to maintain in the long run, and your dollar goes a little bit further when it comes to maximizing your range.
Obviously, Connor mentioned having power pads, something to help you with staying locked in for acceleration and braking, I think is definitely something that you should look into if you are getting this wheel.
You can buy those aftermarket. There's a billion options available. Slap Velcro on the side, and you can really fine tune how this wheel locks into your feet and how you can get the most out of the performance that's already within this. There's plenty of videos out there by Chooch. He takes this thing off of some pretty crazy trails. He has some pretty good pads and keeps them locked in. Check him out. Yesterday we did a long ride around the southern tip of Manhattan, went down to Brooklyn, got lunch, and then rode back up the east side. Got a little lost, but that's okay.
So we're hopping onto the Greenbelt. We're gonna kind of do a range test. Looks like we're at the Hudson River Park entrance, right by Pier 76. We've got 87% on the V12. Got 92% on the King Song S16 Pro. We left the house at around 96% battery, so not quite fully charged, but we came back with 59%. That was riding about 23 miles. So, you know, extrapolating that out, that should get you around 46 miles of range. Not bad. In conclusion, the INMOTION V12, great budget wheel, you get a lot. Great budget wheel, great value. I wasn't ready for that.
What do you think about Central Park? This has been a really positive experience with the V12. You know, to me, this wasn't a wheel exactly that I would necessarily reach for, but EUCO sent it to us, and I'm really glad they did. For
The price?
you get a lot.
The INMOTION V12 excels at all the basics and provides them in a relatively affordable package.
What more could you want? Feel free to pick yours up today at euco.us. Subscribe, and we'll see you next month.
Peace.